Hey guys, welcome back! DOS gaming had a huge impact on me, and this mighty IBM PS1 was my very first PC, and a couple years ago I managed to restore it and bring it back from the dead. So are you ready for a trip down memory lane to the best DOS gaming era? Let's take a look! By 1990, the PC market had become so popular that video game-related companies preferred to get the PC versions released first, even though the Amiga and Atari platforms had already proved to have better graphics and sound capabilities. Technical capabilities, however, were no match for the superior user base the PC offered. By that time, 65% of the home computer market was made up of IBM compatibles, with the Amiga at 10% and every other platform, including Atari and Apple, somewhere below that mark. By December of 1992, 82% of the gaming market was focused on PCs, with Apple taking 8% and the Amiga just 5%. And by September of 1993 was when I bought my very own PC, leaving my Amiga behind. Well, I never really left my beloved Amiga, only needed to focus my attention towards my brand new IBM PS1 because of my academic choices at high school. Launched by mid-1992, the Intel 486 DX266 was a massive advance from its predecessor. Gaming on a PC had never looked or been so good. The DX266 was the ultimate in gaming processors. It was fast, had an extra 8 KB of on-chip cache, and was priced just right for the new DOS gamer like myself to enjoy the benefits of an amazing gaming setup where the likes of Doom 2 and X-Wing ran beautifully. This was the top of the range in terms of gaming and a super fast processor compared to what came before, and telling your friends at school that you had a DX266 and inviting them over to play Doom 2 the way it should be played really helped to have a ton of envy eyes looking over my shoulders. Obviously, that AMD had also their own much cheaper contestant, but it didn't perform quite as well. The MS-DOS based PC is a platform that doesn't get enough respect that it deserves. And you know why? Because it simply never died, like every single gaming system that ever existed. The MS-DOS gaming PC evolved with the appearance of Windows 95. So this was a platform that never had a proper burial ritual, like as said all other gaming systems to this date. The clean and smooth transition from MS-DOS to Windows 95 kind of attenuated the nostalgia that surrounds PC gaming throughout the years. My IBM PS1 model 2168 that I managed to buy by September of 1993 has a silhouette that for me is a symbol of the best years of MS-DOS gaming. And in relation to that, gamers can't simply describe a DOS gaming machine just like we describe the looks and style of, for instance, a Master System or a Nintendo 64. PCs came in various formats and shapes from so many different brands, so again, that's another reason that led gamers to never really pay the proper respects to the platform. It's also imperative to notice that the pace of PC hardware development has always been constant since the early days of DOS gaming, in contrast to, for instance, Commodore that saw years go by without any major new development. That's what killed Commodore in the first place, staying for years in the shadow of the success of the Amiga 500, while Intel processors and IBM PC compatibles evolved almost on a daily basis. A while back I've already told the origins of the personal computer, and you can click on the annotation on the top right of the screen to go directly to that video. So for now, let's just recall some of my biggest addictions back from the glory days of DOS gaming that I still play nowadays on my beloved IBM PS1 486 DX266, and that always remained on the hard drive since then. Dune 2 is a perfect example of the rise and importance of gaming on the PC. It was released first for DOS machines, later being ported to other systems. If you recall, I've mentioned it on one of my latest videos as being part of the Amazing Power, Corruption and Lies compilation for DOS. Check it out if you missed it.
Recording.
So besides Dune 2, another game that I've played a ton on my DOS machine and that stayed on the hard drive since then was Doom 2. The classic, the revolutionary Doom 2 that rocked the place down and made all my friends jealous. Being one of the last ones from my personal circle of friends to own a PC was really cool, cause I was able to run every single new game that was coming out with no issues at all. Everyone wanted to come over to my parents' house to play Doom 2 the way it should be played. Pinball Fantasies was another amazing piece of programming that would always bring a smile to everyone who played it. This one was first released for the Amiga and later ported to the PC, and it was one of those games that I was completely in love with on the Amiga that I should also have on my brand new IBM. I've recently made my review and historical background on Pinball Fantasies, so please check it out. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Pronouncing this game's title to my friends was so damn funny back in school by the time it was released, cause removing one of the D's on the second word of cannon fodder is a bit on the naughty side when pronounced in Portuguese. Back in those days, we were just innocent and curious kids, you know? So Cannon Fodder was another game originally released for the Amiga and later ported to the PC and other systems. This one I only played on DOS, and only many years later I managed to try the Amiga original. That is the best, I must add. But even so, my first contact with this game was with the PC version, so this is, for me, the one that really means something to me and keeps the nostalgia level sky high. Now for a racing game, a genre that you know that I'm completely crazy about. So, talking about crazy, here's Crazy Cars 3 from the French developer Titus. If you remove the U from the Titus, you get... okay, never mind. Back then, there were obviously way better racing games on DOS, like the ones from the Lotus and Network Q Rack Rally series, but the Crazy Cars franchise was with me since the glory days of the ZX Spectrum, in where I used to play the first two games. We just have to floor our way through in these illegal street races, passing all cars and trying to reach the main rivals in front, so that we can arrive in first place and win all the money in stake from the bets placed before the race started. It's that simple. Now, one of my most played point-and-click adventure games was Day of the Tentacle, with its incredible art style and dark humor, and it came from the creative minds of those crazy fellows, Tim Schafer and Dave Grossman, obviously. I miss so much the glory days of graphic adventures, mainly from Lucasfilm and LucasArts. If you haven't watched my complete history video on those mythic video game companies, feel free to click on the annotation on the top right of the screen. As I've told so many times on my videos, I absolutely love pinball games, and besides Pinball Fantasies, I also used to play a ton Extreme Pinball, the first game from Digital Extremes, but not the first game by James Schmalz. A couple of years prior to Extreme Pinball, James also gave us the fantastic Epic Pinball, another that I used to play a lot back in the day. This particular one was developed and released for DOS back in 1995 and later ported to the PlayStation, a version that received really poor reviews. For last, Jazz Jackrabbit was a sort of Sonic game that PC gamers were looking for. An extremely fast side-scrolling platformer, a style more common to see on consoles by that time. It was developed and published by Epic Mega Games, Wells, for DOS and later for Mac and for Windows. As said, Jazz was inspired by games like Sonic and Zool, and its fast-paced gameplay, beautiful graphics and amazing soundtrack was what really grabbed every single one of us that didn't own a gaming console by that time. And this was the game that we would show to our friends that had, for instance, a Mega Drive or a Super Nintendo. They were impressed, I can tell you that, and started to look differently at computers, cause these beasts can also be fun. These were just a few games that are still installed on the hard drive since around 1997, time when I upgraded to a Pentium machine paired with a Diamond Monster 3D FX card. Unfortunately, I got rid of that card, but I kept the games that came bundled. Lastly, I have to thank to Kappa Games, CTG Games and Spotput for giving me the inspiration to create this video. Last week I was on the Portuguese podcast United Gamers about PC gaming, and it was, with no doubt, the spark that fueled my motivation for this episode.
Tanto jogo bom em DOS, lá está, deixem-me dizer isto, o DOS, aliás o PC Gaming foi uma plataforma que nunca morreu, não é? Evoluiu, passou do DOS para o Windows e cá estamos ainda com isto, não é? Com o PC Gaming. E não há aquela nostalgia pelo PC Gaming como há, por exemplo, pela Mega Drive, pela Super Nintendo e pela NES e por isso tudo, foram consolas que surgiram, apareceram, morreram. E agora o pessoal, e tal, nostalgia, bué, quando eu jogava aquele jogo, não sei o quê, na Mega Drive e tal. Não há essa coisa pelo PC Gaming. E o PC Gaming foi daquelas plataformas que nunca morreu. Foi sempre evoluindo, sistemas operativos novos e não sei o quê, mas foi sempre evoluindo, nunca morreu. Não há aquela coisa, aquela nostalgia pelo PC Gaming como há pelas outras plataformas todas.
Exato.
É isto que eu tenho a dizer do PC Gaming. Pronto, posso pedir embora.
So guys, do you want to discover more DOS games that are still buried on the hard drive of my mighty IBM PS1 rig? Drop me a comment down below, and I'll certainly bring more of these videos in the near future. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe and to click on that bell icon so that you're notified when all my upcoming content becomes available. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next episode.